episode, MEETOPTICS Talks 2. We have the pleasure to interview Jay Kumler, North America Chief and of the German company called Genoptic. Genoptic is specialized in designing and creating highly performance lenses and optical systems for life science, for semiconductor industry, and for defense and entertainment. It's a very nice company. Jay has over 30 years of experience in the photonic fields. He co-founded and was the president of Coastal Optical Systems from 1991, if I'm not mistaken. And that was sold to Genoptic in 2009, where now he's the president of North America. So first of all, welcome and thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
Well, it's great to be able to exchange thoughts about the industry. Thank you.
Thank you. So I made a brief introduction of your career path, but maybe you could explain us more about yourself, about your motivations, about how you went from studying physics to being specialized in the photonic field.
I think like many people, it was a teacher that really first inspired me to go into physics in high school, I think, and then an undergraduate professor who encouraged me to go into optics. So I think that that's a key point, that's the way some of us find our passion is through a teacher that they had in school. So that's what brought me to optics. And today I'm responsible for the North American part of Jenoptik. And so I lead and direct our strategy and try to help with organic and inorganic growth. And it's exciting global business, and I'm grateful for the opportunities that optics has given me.
Okay, and what's your everyday routine? What do you do every day?
It's my routine is kind of dictated by time zones. So I tend to have early meetings and calls with Germany because of the time zone. And then as I go through the day, then I talk with colleagues and meet with colleagues in the US, and then sometimes in the evenings in Asia. So my work routine is kind of set by the global business. And as far as outside of work, I mean, I try to get outside and exercise and enjoy the outdoors as much as possible outside of work.
So you have very long days, no? It seems very long.
Sometimes you have to be a little bit flexible with people's work schedules and things like that, customers, time zones.
And how did your life change from when you were from a small company startup and now that you have like thousands of employees? No, it's a very big company. How did it change your life?
It's a different work environment for sure, but my learning curve grew a lot faster. It got a lot steeper once I became part of a publicly traded company. So I certainly have had the opportunity to learn about running a business, things that I would never have had the opportunity to learn if I was in a small, closely held private company. And I enjoy both environments. I enjoy the flexibility and speed of a smaller company, but I also put a high value on the global reach of being part of a large company. And it's really given me the opportunity to learn about doing business globally.
Yeah, and also I mean, I know that because you help a lot of companies like us, growing, because you have a lot of experience of how to grow a company and how to manage it. So it's very nice. And I mean, your experience in everything, so in physics and the business is amazing. And what would you say, or what would you consider that it's the best and the worst experience that you had during your whole career?
Well, the best is the having the opportunity to establish relationships with people from all around the world, different cultures. So that's really been amazing. So it's great to establish long-term friendships and relationships with people all over Asia and all over Europe. So that's really been absolutely the best part. And I guess maybe the worst part is I spend entirely too much time sitting at my desk. In either meetings or calls or whatever. So I wish that I had more, I look back fondly on when I had more time in the lab and more time with the hardware and maybe more time building things. But my role now is mostly doing things like we're doing today, and being on the phone and being at my desk.
I hope this is not so boring. It's okay. So, okay. And for people who do not understand maybe that well what photonics is or what do you do, like, could you say with plain words or more common words what photonics can change their lives?
I'm pretty sure that whether people realize it or not, photonics is already changing people's lives. And photonics is all about clean energy as we're all trying to fight climate change. Photonics is about fighting diseases. So photonics is about discovering new drugs, fighting cancer, doing all kinds of genomic research. It's speeding up development for things like LiDAR for autonomous cars, which is also going to save people's lives. And it's really, in everyday life, I mean, photonics makes it possible for us to enjoy the devices that we enjoy. Your phone and your tablet and all the electronic devices you have would be impossible if it wasn't for photonics.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you that it's everywhere, but it's difficult for people maybe to understand that it's there, because we are so used to it that it's difficult to see how important it is. But I think you forgot to mention that you send something to the space. Some of your products were launched to the space, so this is also a large development applications, that you've contributed to. So, what do you think is next?
Well, some of the things that we're paying attention to and working on are quantum computing and really all quantum technologies. So that's quantum sensing, quantum communications, and quantum computing. So there's a lot of companies that are emerging now and going public for quantum computing. So a lot of VC money is going into that area. And large companies, obviously, like IBM and others, making tremendous investments in quantum computing. So that's definitely on the horizon, and we want and are actively involved in that area. Another one is free space optical communications. It's important, whether it's space-based or ground-based, free space optical communications enables people that live in third world countries to have reliable internet access for the first time. So that's changing people's lives as hospitals and schools get access to everything that we enjoy on the internet. And the last one is AR, VR. It's been on the cusp of really taking off for quite a while, but we believe that that's going to become increasingly important. So it's all photonics, and we're definitely involved in that area as well.
Cool. I think you have the capabilities because you are a big company, so you have also the resources to be there and be one of the pioneers to push it. That's good. And how do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Yeah. I mean, I would love to be doing the same job that I'm doing now, no question. That sounds a little bit boring, but I love my job and I enjoy the opportunities. When we do acquisitions of companies like TriOptics and Berliner Glass and Swiss Optic, everything is changing and growing, so it's exciting and new. So I would be grateful for the opportunity to still be doing my job in 5 years. But if the thing that hopefully would change a little bit is I would spend a little bit more time inspiring young people. Like I said, it was a teacher that first got me going into science and technology, and I would certainly welcome the opportunity to spend more time inspiring young people.
That's nice. It's very nice. Yeah, I guess giving back what you've learned and all your experience is a very, very rewarding moment. So it's nice. And for the photonics industry, if we focus on that, what do you think will be the next challenges that the industry will have?
The biggest challenge right now is we have this huge challenge of what people call the chip shortage. So photonics drives the semiconductor industry, and our optics and our photonics technology goes into all the equipment that's used to make computer chips. So it's a huge challenge. There's so many new fabs being built, and so the optics industry needs to step up to meeting that demand, because everyone wants more connected devices. I think we're going to go from 8 connected devices to more than 40 per person or something. It's really crazy. But it's making people's lives better. It's not just about toys and things. I mean, it's the Internet of Things is really going to help people's lives as well. So that's sort of the immediate problem. The long-term problem we've been working on a little bit in the Optics and Photonics Congressional Caucus is workforce. I mean, as the industry grows, we really need more and more qualified workers, and that's technicians and engineers. I think there's at least in the United States, there's a pretty significant shortage of qualified engineers. So that's a long-term problem. I mean, that goes back to inspiring people in grade school and high school to consider math and science as a career. And yeah, I think that's a short-term and a long-term goal for the industry.
Yeah. And maybe just to finish with this interview, if you had some words to tell someone who wanted to now start in this industry, like maybe doing their masters or starting their PhDs, what would be your like the take-home message or your words for them?
The photonics world is full of opportunities, so I definitely encourage students to go into it. They can work for so many amazing companies, not just traditional optics companies, but the Amazons and the Googles and the Apples of the world need photonics engineers, and it's very exciting. So I couldn't think of actually a better career, and I'm very grateful that I had a chance to participate.
Yeah, I'm also very happy about that. Yeah, and okay, so thank you. I enjoyed a lot your insights in the industry, your insights in your career path, and I think this will help others to be inspired to follow this career path as well. Yeah, thank you very much for your time, Jay.
Barbara.
Okay, bye-bye.